I think Shabana knew that we were working on something because she told Javed uncle that we were working on something, and so he said, "So what is this idea you have? Tell me." I had hidden it from him for a while. I mean,
Why?
I don't know. I felt very shy.
Is
I
he like
just-
judgmental of your ideas or anything?
No, but I mean, see, this was also very early in our relationship, and he comes in with this reputation of being a writer and a director, and I've never done anything like this before. So
very experienced like Shabana ji or someone, everyone has their own different temperaments.
Okay.
You know, so and it's honestly more to do with instinct. There is no set rule.
put it this way, there is always an opinion.
Okay.
I mean, no one is afraid of sharing thoughts and opinions.
Yeah.
A very
Diplomacy dies at that time. Let me just...
it's just
Hello team Dabba Cartel, welcome to Cinema Express. I'm Karthik. I want to start off with you, Shibani. I think the genesis of this project happened around COVID. That's when I think you started writing. What is very interesting in it that you have taken a very quintessential Mumbai local thing, which is a dabba, and placed it into the world, in a very high stakes world of a drug drama. I want to ask you, what was that first spark of idea you had? Like, what was that first line you thought of? And how did it evolve from there?
Well, we knew that we wanted it to be about women in crime. We didn't necessarily know that they would be unsuspecting, unassuming middle-class women. But there was an idea to have them be a part of some sort of kiddie group. And they would be kind of distributing drugs through that kiddie group. But it kind of developed through that. The backdrop became Thane. We created a housing society. We used dabbas. So while we always knew we wanted to create a crime drama, it kind of developed as we were talking because we found the idea of middle-class women who weren't really from this world using a distribution service like the dabbas. We found that to be very interesting. And you don't often see many shows that kind of have women at the helm in terms of crime drama. So we thought that would be an interesting angle as well.
You know, you're talking about like women being in crime. Most of the times, I think crime genre has been inundated by men.
Yes.
And it has been like protagonists have been men and even makers have been men. There are certain themes in crime which we keep on going. It's like, it's a guy who wants to become a gang lord, which is sort of like a egoistic take on it. And there is revenge, redemption, all these themes. And I'm not saying that when women are in the forefront of it, these themes can't be there. They can be there, but I feel like there can be something else also. I want to understand, when women are protagonists and when women are makers of a crime show, what is that X factor? What is that different thing? What is the different in approach with the female gaze comes in a crime show?
I mean, that's a great question for, I think, Hitesh, actually, because... See, the thing is, I'll answer a little bit, then you can take over, which is what we're used to anyway, me interrupting all the time. No, see, I think it has to be handled with a certain approach, right? As I said, they're not from a world of crime. They have their own lives going on. Each has a different journey. They're from a different age group. Their trajectory is different. Their motivations are different. And because of where they're coming from and where they're going to, you have to emotionally look at what is happening. You have to look at the subtle nuances of what they may be feeling, what they may be going through, because they're not built for this world. They may not necessarily want to be a part of this world, but they are thrust into this world. And now they need to figure out how they're going to navigate it. And I think what's really interesting about this particular show and the way that Hitesh has directed it is the choices that he has made in terms of how he has handled each female character and her particular journey, because each one is different. And there's you have to handle it very delicately and with a lot of understanding. And I think that when it's on paper, it's one thing, but when you bring it to life, the choices that you make when you're directing, when you're on set with the actors, it's really important, and I think he's done an amazing job with that. So, Hitesh, now you may answer the question.
See, I think more than the gender side of it, I think it's the story that reigns supreme on everything, and emotional engagement of the material that one is reading. When I heard it for the first time, of course there are very strong female characters that are written, and Shibani had a great eye for all those characters and the details. But I think the main thing was the story itself, and how complex these characters are, and how they have their own each journey sculpted out very well. So I think that caught my attention. So more than the gender, more than the gaze on the female characters, I think the characters themselves were written very beautifully, and very strong characters, and how they are not criminals, how they deal with a day-to-day life, and how they get entangled into this entire thing. That I think I find the most fascinating side of it, outside of the gender narratives.
Farhan, were you the first one to be told this idea?
I would imagine one of the first at least.
No, you weren't.
I'd like to believe.
You may be sixth or seventh.
Okay, I was 6 or 7. to know it after the 6 people who were cast, the director. Then I was informed. No, but pretty early on.
Yeah. So, what is your take on it?
Okay. I had hidden it from him for a while. I mean,
why?
I don't know. I felt very shy.
Is he judgmental of your ideas or anything?
No, but I mean, see, this was also very early in our relationship. And he comes in with this reputation of being a writer and a director, and I've never done anything like this before. So I didn't know really. I mean, what do you say? Here is my script. Whether you hate it or not, please tell me that it's amazing.
No, so I knew that I knew that she was developing something with a colleague of hers. And then she came and she said that, listen, there's this thing that we've written and I want to get it registered. But I'm not a member of the Film Writers Association or any such place. So can you please do it for me? So I said, can the office do it for me? So I said, why don't you give it to Qasim, who's a producer that works at Excel? I said, give it to him and he'll get it registered for you through Excel. So Qasim read it and Qasim told Ritesh and me that you all should read it. That's actually how it happened. Yeah, so
and then
he said,
Qasim sent it to him to read. And so when I got the message from Qasim, which was, you can absolutely register this, but do not give it to anybody.
Yeah, she didn't want to share it with me at all.
And I was like, what? I did not expect that at all.
Yeah.
So, and obviously I was very nervous when he read it, but he read it and he liked it, which is...
I want to understand this, in the Akhtar household, you have, of course, Javed sir, who is a screenwriter, you are a director and a writer and also an actor. Zoya is a director. So many people are there. Is it easier or is it difficult to share ideas on the dining table? Do you get ideas? Do you feel like there are so many people to
I don't think we get ideas like that. That doesn't happen. Is kebab pe picture ban sakti like that.
But do you guys discuss?
Yeah,
do you guys bounce off?
Because there's constantly somebody's working on something constantly.
Yeah.
So not only just them. I mean, of course, my mom, Shabana.
Yes.
Tanvi. Tanvi.
Baba.
So, everyone's working on some film at some point in time. So you'll end up asking, how's it going?
Yeah.
And then when that happens, it leads to talking about some other film or talking about something else. So that's happening all the time. So that's just part and parcel, I think, of now.
Let us put it this way: there is always an opinion.
Okay.
No one is afraid of sharing thoughts and opinions.
Yeah.
A very
diplomacy dies at that time. Let me just
there's just none.
Are they very
that
extreme?
table is diplomacy goes to die.
There's no filter. There's no diplomacy.
But that's nice, for the creative process.
Yeah.
It definitely can be.
Yeah. So, I think Javed sir knows about Dabba Cartel. Did you tell him the idea? What was his reaction to it?
So, as you mentioned, we were writing during the lockdown.
Yeah.
And during the lockdown, we had spent some time in his Kannada home. And I think Shabana knew that we were working on something because she told Javed uncle that we were working on something. And so he said, so what is this idea you have? Tell me. And I thought, oh, God. So I briefly gave him the one-liner. And Shabana happened to be sitting nearby. And he said, great, look, here's your cast. And it was very strange for me because he didn't know that I already had Shabana in mind to play the part. And she didn't know either. So I ran off quickly and called the other creators and I was like, you won't believe what happened. So he did know, but obviously that was a long time ago and he's kind of been around during the process of making it.
So this cast is very interesting. You have, of course, Shabana ma'am, then you have Sai Tamankar, you have Nimisha Sajayan, you have Jishu Sen Gupta. From across regional industries, there are a lot of actors. What was the vision behind the casting of the show? Like, was it difficult to get all these people on board, like at one place at one time? And what was the process of the whole? Just tell me the whole process of casting. How it go?
I think there wasn't this fundamental approach that we have to cast every actor from a different part or anything like that. But the parts were written in such a manner that there was a massive casting process along with Netflix and Monica, her team, Tanya, Shibani, Farhan, all of us included, that who's the best suited person for this thing. And I think that process just took shape and took a lot of time. And eventually, you find those people, and then once you cast that person like a Nimisha or Jishu, then you can't think of anyone else playing that part, that other than that person. So I think we just got very lucky to have that kind of an ensemble. Yeah. And the cherry on top is that they represent such different parts of India and different industries, so which is fabulous, like Jyotika, Nimisha, Jishu, Shabana ji. So I think it's quite a fabulous ensemble.
Yeah, I mean, also I think the script allows that, because I mean it is a colony that of people who work for a certain pharmaceutical company.
Yeah.
So they've come from different parts, as you've seen.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like a local colony that only people who grew up and were born there live in.
Yeah.
So that allowed that feeling, and it adds culture.
Yes.
In a very interesting way to the show.
I think that's also what platform allows you to do. Which is so exciting, that you can tell all different types of stories. You can have an ensemble cast. And so the process just feels a lot more creative when you can have characters from different age groups and different worlds. It gives you that freedom to be able to do what you need to do, which is really nice.
Monica, what interested you? Like, what was like when this was pitched to you? Like, what was that one factor you thought, okay, this is great? Because Netflix, I think, has an interest in a lot of crime shows in general. And like crime is, I think, Netflix's USP. So that genre is one, but what is the other factor which is like, you say, okay,
I would say crime is one of Netflix's USPs. But I think first off, what was most exciting for us was the partnership with Excel. I think we were looking at doing something together, and I'm actually very glad to hear that Kasim read it and he made you guys read it. And we were very excited about, the show has multiple layers and two different worlds that are actually coming together. Yeah. It's the world of the women, which is their everyday life and hustle of getting this business to take off, where some of them are actually trying to help their husbands in meeting their dreams in life, realizing their dreams in life. Some have a different journey where, they are struggling on their own to prove themselves to their family and to the larger society. And I think the characters were so amazing and very sharply crafted. Each of these women and the characters in this society, and then the characters outside of this society who are the criminals who actually find a way into this everyday middle class existence that all of us know at some level, we've seen, we've experienced in different ways, and how the show was bringing so many different things together and was managing to really make you see yourself in that world also. And at the same time, it actually made you realize that what starts off as something really charming, where two women are, running this Dabba service, and what with the different choices and the incidents that happen to them, where the story goes. So the twists and turns, the emotional ups and downs, every character bringing like their whole selves to what they're doing in that moment and then grappling with what is going to happen next to them. So I felt it was a very unique crime show. It brought the drama world and the crime world, the men's world and the women's world. And it just, became a very fascinating dabba, honestly, for me. So to unpack, and I really think that for the audience also, actually, it's a page turner. So it's going to really, I think, appeal to a lot of people.
What is very interesting is the setting of the show, which is Thane. And mostly films and series are not set. Like, this is some part of Mumbai which we don't explore that much. how did you zero it on? Like let's not do, because Mumbai could have been an option. Like, how did you zero on? Okay, let's do this in Thane. This is an interesting landscape too.
यार एक तो the people of Thane will be very upset that you called them a part of Mumbai. तो उनको बोलते हैं Thane एक अलग जगह है, not a part of Mumbai. It's just outside.
They'll be upset if I say.
I think that answer आपके question में ही है, that you know, when you think of a crime story or some kind of a drug or this thing, so your immediate instinct is to base it in Bombay, and you know we have seen so many stories set over there, so there is a visual fatigue, I won't call it, but still there is a certain sense. So I think Thane lends itself a very different visual texture. It is very, very different visually from what Mumbai looks like. So I think that was also one of the strong reasons for us to base it outside of Bombay, a slow-paced thing and a different visual texture altogether.
I would say that how he's captured it actually is, a very important part of how the show looks. It's in the rains, the comings and goings of people, the societies, very nicely. It's a completely different visual texture, and I think that's also a part of the appeal of the show, that it looks so different from everything.
So India doesn't have a lot of drug dramas as such, like when it comes to series. I think a lot of inspiration comes from the West. What are like some drug dramas you guys like or like enjoy watching?
I'm a huge fan of Ozark.
Okay.
I think it's one of, still to date, one of my most favorite shows.
Narcos.
Yeah, even I was
Narcos,
thinking.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one that really kind of like.
Yeah, Breaking Bad, of
Breaking
course.
Bad.
But I'm just a huge fan of Ozark.
For you, Farhan?
Also because,
Narcos.
because of the world, that I mean, and every drug story is specific to its kind of landscape and the world that it's set in, which is what makes each one so distinct and so interesting. And I think that's what makes ours interesting, is that this is very specific to Thane. It's very specific to the Dabba service. So it's got a nice quirk.
For you, it's Narcos?
Yeah, by far.
Do you guys like the same shows, or like is it like you are interested in some other genre and she's interested in some other genre, or like is it the same?
Now I'm feeling like we are counselors. And I would like to understand why, because that will tell me everything I need to know about you. No, there are many shows that we do like which are similar.
And there are many
And then there are some genres which
that are very different.
Okay. Like,
that Shibani says she doesn't watch, but I catch her watching.
It's my what is it called? It's my
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure.
Yeah, guilty pleasures.
I have many. We won't talk about that right now.
But I have a feeling that the guilty pleasures have in some way led to this show.
okay.
Because watching lives of people in those shows, that's I think probably where this idea comes from, where you're just seeing people going about a daily routine
exactly.
and just sitting around in rooms and talking to each other about what they did at home and where they had dinner, or what the husband and this and that. What if these people actually suddenly had like a cartel?
You're giving away my guilty pleasure.
Oh, there you go.
It's a very big clue.
Hitesh, I want to understand this. Like, when you have a cast which is like across experiences, like there's Shabana ma'am, then there is like other actors who are there. How do you like go about like briefing them, and how do you go about managing them on set? Like, what is your approach with everybody a little different to go about? And what?
Yeah, it is not the same with everyone. See, whether someone is very experienced like Shabana ji or someone, everyone has their own different temperaments.
Okay.
So and it's honestly more to do with instinct. There is no set rule, that I am sure if I speak on other directors' behalf also, that you follow. It is just in the moment what you're feeling and how you want to deal with that person on an instinctive basis. So I think that defines the process. Where Shabana ji has 100 questions about everything. She wants to know each and every single thing on, what shade of pink and in what detail. So you really need to prepare yourself well, and she wants to read and rehearse again and again. And Nimisha does not want to do that. She wants to
She
just...
is more like spontaneous.
Yeah, she doesn't want to over discuss anything. She doesn't want to rehearse at all.
Okay.
And then you warm up to that process, that she doesn't like rehearsal. So I was a little taken aback.
Yeah.
But then I figured that is how, that process works best for her. So I think it's different for everyone.
Okay. On that note, thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Best of luck.
Thank you.